What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you how easy it is to upgrade your rear brakes on your X5 from these small 320 millimeter rotors up to these massive 385 millimeter rotors from X5M to match the front brakes, which we completed the upgrade several months ago. If you're interested in watching how to do the front brakes, there's a link on top. Go ahead and click it and I'll take you right to it. So without further ado, let's see what's involved in upgrading these rear brakes. So we got the wheel off, so we get a better picture of what we actually gonna be doing. So what we need is obviously the big rotor. Look at the difference. That is quite huge if you ask me. So you will need the rotor, and you will need a bracket. This is a bracket from an X5M that you could obtain from your local junkyard, or there's plenty of junkyards that sell these from wrecked X5Ms. And also mine just happened to come with a caliper as well, so I'm going to replace both. You could actually reuse this caliper because the caliper the size wise is the same. Only difference between this caliper and the X5M caliper is the piston size. This is, I believe, a 44 millimeter, and here's a 42. So this is actually smaller than on the original caliper that came with the car. I'm just gonna stick with the caliper that came from an X5M. I painted those blue like I have my front calipers, so if there's a match. Reason being I didn't paint the whole thing is because the X5M calipers come already painted black from the factory, unlike the original ones. They're just not painted, they're just plain metal. So I just only painted the areas that are visible to the naked eye. I didn't want to paint the whole thing because it's painted from the factory. So let's unbolt the rotor, the caliper, and I'll show you what needs to be done in order to mount this huge rotor on this hub. We got the caliper assembly and the bracket off along with the rotor. As you see, the difference in the bracket is substantial. As you can see how much far away is the new bracket compared to the new one. One modification that you will need to do or basically buy brand new is this shield. Basically this shield is made for the smaller rotor, so if you put this bigger one on, it won't fit. The rotor is about this much bigger than the shield. So what you'll need to do is either replace it, you could buy a brand new one, or you could just cut off the edge, the lip around here, and that way it'll be flush, and basically you'll accomplish the same thing and save you a lot of time, because you have to take the parking brake assembly off in order to unbolt the shield. So I'm gonna cut it off real quick and we'll take it from there. In this fashion, basically now our shield is basically straight, so there should be no interference when we mount the bigger rotor. So let's see and check it out. Make sure there's no contact between the shield and the rotor on the new rotor. So we have the caliper installed along with the new pads. I forgot to mention, you will need to get new pads for this, because the original pads are much smaller, so you cannot reuse the original pads. You will need to get new pads. These pads are the pads from the X5M or several other BMW models, because this is a very popular pad size. These pads, this is the size D919. They came on different came on different BMW models. For example, the E90 M3, the E60 550, the older 7 Series also use these pads. So there are quite a few applications that use these pads. So there's quite a variety of those. You can get different brands. I got the Techstar ones. Had good experience with those, so I chose that from FCP Euro, along with the rotors. The rotors are the pads are about, I think, $54. The rotors are $99 from FCP Euro, so they're not that much expensive than the replacement rotors for this for the original application. And this will nicely complement the front and will improve the braking performance, because I did not mention this before, but when I did the front upgrade, obviously there was a improvement in the braking performance, but you could sense that the front was doing most of the work. When you started to brake hard, you could feel the nosedive, since the front was doing most of the work. So now we shifted the brake bias towards the rear. So we have the caliper installed. Now we have to bleed the system, since we had to swap the caliper out and there's air in the brake lines now. As a side note, I previously said that you could reuse original caliper. Well, that is not the case. I noticed that the original caliper, the piston doesn't go back in as far as the piston on the new caliper, so it will not fit the new pads, and it will not go over the rotor, since the new rotor is, I believe, 24 millimeters, and the original rotor is only 20 millimeters. So this is much thicker, so you will need to source new brackets and new caliper. The caliper, actually, the same caliper is used on the X550i as well as the X5M. It's the same caliper, so you don't have to search for the caliper from the X5M. You could search from X550i as well. And just like that, we have upgraded the rear brakes on the X5. It was easy enough. It was just basically a bolt-on. All we had to do is modify the heat shield a little bit, and that was it. Look how nicely this rotor fills up the 19-inch 449 style wheel. This is a 19-inch rim. So as you see, just like in the front, basically the whole real estate is taken away on this rim. It's nicely filled, and I bet the braking performance will be improved as well. That'll be all for this upgrade. It was simple enough. Hit a like, comment down below, and consider subscribing, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.